Well, the Sharks still have a couple more days until they get back on the ice. We're going to do an interview today. Henry Thrun, defenseman from the San Jose Sharks, joins the show. So we'll talk about his early years going to college, the trade to San Jose, and his NHL debut. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is Tank Commander JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Probably part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And San Jose Sharks defenseman Henry Thrun joins the show, where we're going to talk about his, getting drafted, his favorite player growing up. Of course, talk about the trade that brought him to San Jose and kind of what the thinking went behind that, and get to know him a little bit off the ice. Of course, had to ask about Grand Admiral Thrawn. So before we do get into all that, do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you guys by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And now we bring in San Jose Sharks defenseman Henry Thrun. Henry, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing well, JD. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for coming on. First thing I have to ask is, I usually ask most guys, when did you realize hockey could be a thing for you?
Oh gosh. I would say I probably started to think about the NHL maybe when I got to high school. Sophomore year of high school. I started to make some progress and had some college recruiting going on. So at that point, it was a dream. And from there on, just made it my goal and worked every day towards it.
I know you grew up good Massachusetts kid. Who was your favorite player growing up?
I would say Duncan Keith. That was when I started to watch a lot of hockey, is when the Blackhawks were going on their runs. And he obviously was the keystone player for that team, along with some others. And to watch him, the way he played out there, the way he helped lead them, I think he all around was one of the best defensemen ever to play. So he was someone that I like to watch a lot.
On kind of, not on the flip side, but which guy, now that you kind of gotten a little bit further in your career, you started your pro career, who's the guy that you try to kind of model your game after?
Yeah, I think there's different things I try to steal from each defenseman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you kind of got to know what you fall into, and some things obviously are more achievable than others. I like to watch guys. I think Jacob Slavin's a good guy to watch. He obviously is an elite defensive player, but also can contribute offensively. So he's someone that I always, whenever I see him on TV, I like to watch him play. I think he's a little bigger than me, but someone that I think plays an overall really responsible style and helps in both ends of the ice.
So, like I said, you Massachusetts kid, but from what I read, you're actually a Rangers fan. Is this true? And how does that go living in Boston and not being a Bruins fan?
I don't know. I don't know where you saw that factoid. I don't know if I've said that in an interview before, but I grew up as a Bruins fan. So
okay.
Yeah, I would just squash that rumor. I was a Bruins fan growing up.
Okay. That's just wanted to make sure, not everything you read on the internet, I guess, is true. So, did you coming up, did you always want to go to the NCAA route? Of course, go into Harvard. Was that kind of always the path that you wanted to go? And was it always Harvard, or what were kind of the schools you were looking at?
Yeah, I think for me, I always was pretty set on the college route. Obviously, just being from Massachusetts, you get so much exposure. to all the college hockey that goes on in New England, and as well watching the Bean Pod every year. So for me, it was a pretty easy decision knowing I wanted to go to college. And once the recruiting process started, I really was open to any school that wanted me on their team. I just felt really lucky to be in that position. So I was really open throughout all of it. I think deep down I always knew I wanted to go to school in Boston. And out of all the choices, at Harvard sort of stuck out the most to me, and I was really, really happy with my decision.
Since you're from the Boston area, can you answer me a question? Why is it all the like Boston-based teams, like Boston College, Boston University, Harvard, Northeast? Why are they all red-based, or just a different shade of red?
I don't know. I've never actually thought of that. I think, yeah, that's a good point. Us in BC got kind of the crimson maroon going, and then BU Northeastern got the pure red. I don't know. I mean, I think all four of us have pretty sweet jerseys and pretty good arenas too. So you understand why there's a lot of history and a lot of tradition with the Boston college hockey.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, because I've really started to watch, especially with the Sharks prospects, watching you a little bit last year, and then this year watching, Will Smith with Boston College, watching
Yep.
Cam Lowe with Northeastern, keeping my eyes on a certain player with Boston University.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of red in my life. So
Yeah.
just was curious. So, of course, in 2019, you were drafted by the Ducks. Did you go to the draft? Did you have any idea like who was interested you? What was your draft experience like?
Yeah, I did go to the draft. Our draft was in Vancouver, and it was an awesome weekend. I went with a lot of my teammates just because a lot of guys off our team were going to have the opportunity to get drafted. So we went up to Vancouver for the weekend, had a lot of fun. Had some guys get picked on the first day in the first round, and then a lot of us get picked in the second day. But it was a great weekend. I didn't really know going in who was going to draft me. I had a bunch of interviews at the combine and
Mhm.
felt that they went well. But for me, there wasn't one team that I thought was going to draft me. It was kind of just going into it and just felt really grateful to be there. And honestly, just I knew that being drafted was great and a big accomplishment. But at the end of the day, it didn't mean that you were in the NHL. So for me, it was honestly just excited to be picked. And wherever the city was, I was going to be happy about it. So it was an overall great experience for me.
I like going into it. I know, I think kind of the draft process and scouting is really kind of starting to come along here, especially like public scouting. Did you read your like draft reports and stuff? I don't know how much access there was a couple of years ago, but were you like, oh yeah, that guy, like that kind of makes sense. So maybe here's what I need to work on, or no?
Um, Not really. I mean, it's things that obviously during your draft year, everyone sort of knows who each
Mhm.
other are, especially when you get to international play. And you see the Canadians and the Swedes and the Russians. So it's something that you kind of draw yourself up against other guys and see where you compare, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. But it's something that, especially around the draft, there's a lot of noise around it. I mean, there's people that'll tell you you're going a lot higher than you are, and there's people that tell you you're going a lot lower than you are. So it's something that, I think you always have an expectation of or a hope of where you want to get picked.
Yeah.
But there's so much that changes, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's there to be drafted again is an awesome experience, but it's just the beginning. And I think unless you're one of the superstars that goes with the first couple picks, I think it's going to be a journey after that, and it's something that's it's a process and takes time.
I've heard going, especially like the USHL, you mentioned you kind of played with the US national team, but that first year in college, I've heard it's a gauntlet, kind of that jump in a level. Can you confirm like what that's like, that kind of going from playing, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids to playing 24-year-old like grown men?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm seeing a lot of similarities from that jump from junior to college that I am now from college to pro. And I think I was fortunate that with the NTDP we were able to play I think 15 college games in our second year at the NTDP. So I got a little bit of exposure and kind of a feel for the pace. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, as you'd mentioned, you'd go into college, especially as an 18-year-old freshman, and our team was pretty young to begin with, and you play some teams that have guys that have been there for 4 or 5 years and took 2 years of junior before, and it's a challenge, and you got to find ways to win and find ways to have success personally. So it was an adjustment, and I feel that it was a great learning opportunity for me, and I think it's helping me with the jump now from college to pro.
All right, guys, before we continue with Sharks defenseman Henry Thrun, we talk about the trade that brought him to San Jose, why he wanted to come to San Jose, and then we get to know him off the ice a little bit. Do just need to take a quick break. Although the temperature is getting colder, NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 and bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Again, parlay Christian McCaffrey touchdown with Raheem Mostert touchdown, and you're probably going to have yourself a very nice weekend. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. And of course, during COVID, I know a lot of colleges, Harvard included, shut down. So you went back to the USHL for that season. What was it like kind of going back? Did you feel like a man among boys?
Yeah, that was a crazy experience. It really was. It was I hope a once in a lifetime sort of situation. That when COVID had happened, and I feel the Dubuque Fighting Saints and Callie Larson and Oliver David and the staff they had there were super helpful in all of it, and were really willing to work with me and trying to figure out what was the best path and how it was all going to go down. And I think that year I really used as a development year, and obviously was trying to help my team win every night, but as well was trying to push myself to work on things or try things that I normally wouldn't do. And I felt that I made some strides offensively, particularly that year, just because it was I was 19 at the time, playing in an under 20 league, and that was the first time I really was, older or one of the older guys in the league. And for me, that was as I said, it was a good opportunity to, feel really confident with the puck and be able to sort of dictate the game how I wanted to. And I think I made some big jumps that I felt I was able to bring with me back to school when I returned.
And of course, I assume you're also taking classes online and having to do like normal college stuff and then do this as well.
Yeah. So we had, obviously, because those junior teams have some kids in high school, and they would report to the rink every morning and do their school online. So I got a little bit more leniency. I was able to sort of do it at home or do it on do it at the rink wherever suited best for me. But yeah, I would I'd wake up, I'd go to class on my computer, call it, I don't know, 8 to 12, whatever it was, and then we'd have practice afterwards and then have my day at the rink in the afternoon. So it was a crazy time. I think looking back on it, I felt I was able to make the most of it, especially with having World Junior in the middle of that year. It was a pretty unique year, but overall, I think I managed it pretty well.
And of course, you return to Harvard. You rack up some accolades. You were first year back, second team All ECAC. Your final year All ECAC first team defenseman of the year. You're also captain of Harvard. Plus, Harvard made the tournament 2 seasons in a row. So, like, how do you sum up those 2 years for you and kind of that development and what it means to you?
Yeah, I think I loved it. It was absolutely the right place for me, both hockey wise and just overall from a life perspective. And I think that winning an ECAC championship my junior year was definitely the highlight of it, because when you leave there your senior year, and what you really think back to is what did we accomplish as a group, and for us, it was great. I wish we had more championships, but that was kind of the main highlight for us, that junior year championship, which was a lot of fun. I still have a lot of great friends from that team and talk to them pretty regularly. So I think it was great, and I feel that personally as well. I think I was able to continue to grow and develop my game in areas that I needed to, and I was given the freedom under the coaching staff there to sort of develop myself and know that at that point I was pretty close to being a pro hockey player, and I think that the process every day was focusing on, okay, how can I develop myself into a pro, as well as being present in the everyday college games. How can I turn myself into a pro and make my transition as easy as possible.
Of course, you decide that you didn't want to sign with the Ducks. So what goes into that process there? I know you guys don't have you guys have advisors, right? Not agents, but you talk to your advisor to kind of get that ball moving. What goes behind the decision for that?
Yeah, I think for me, the staff that had drafted me to Anaheim had obviously all changed with Bob Murray and actually Todd Marchand, who now is with the Sharks, ironically. That was kind of the group that brought me into Anaheim. I felt that for me, just where I was at in my career, I felt that San Jose was probably a better option than Anaheim, and I felt that I'd still do compliment Pat Verbeek and the staff that they have there. I think they're doing a great job, and I think they'll continue to do a great job. And honestly, I felt that all things considered, if I ended up in Anaheim, I would have been happy with it, and it would have been something that's I always have said, I trust those guys, and I think that they're going to do a great job with their players and develop them. But for me, if I had the chance to go from an A opportunity to an A+ opportunity, that's sometimes the decisions that have to be made. So there was a lot of conversations with Pat Verbeek, and I was really grateful for sort of how that whole thing went down, and I think both parties ended up happy with how it worked out.
I mean, yes, we want them to do well, but not too well. Now that you're a Sharks fan, right? Yeah. We got to play them a bunch of times, right? I'm just kidding. That's fine. You don't have to say anything. I'll say something. We don't want them to do too well with their draft and development. They already have enough guys. They don't need more guys. So how much did David Quinn, another Boston guy, Mike Grier, a Boston guy as well, how much did that factor into you wanting to come to San Jose?
Yeah, it was a big piece of it. It was a really big factor. Like I had said, I was, Anaheim, I was happy with what was going on there, but I felt that, looking up the coast a little bit and knowing that what Mike and Coach Quinn had going on was really something that I wanted to be a part of. And just having some familiarity with them. And having them know my game a little bit, I think it, for me, made the transition, and it is making the transition a little bit easier. Having people that I've had relationships with, and I know that know me as a person, and I found that, definitely having those two around, and as well having Todd Marchand is another guy that's just people have had relationships before, and it just makes it all that more comfortable.
Harvard famously does not offer athletic scholarships. After you sign your ELC, are you a man of the people? How are you paying back your student loans the next day? Or are you getting the alumni hey, I know you graduated. Are you going to start donating back to the school? Are you dealing with that already?
Yeah, I get some notes here and there about certain donations or giving back. Didn't really make any big purchases or anything. I'm not a huge spender. But yeah, it was it definitely is something that I thought about a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it was such a great program that I'm sure at some point I'll be helping them out, whether it be with some.
You wait till that next contract. The next contract. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So that ELC life in San Jose, it's still pretty tight. I know from so. So you make your NHL debut. What goes in that? I know there's the video of your mom, just like crying, like as you're going through it. I'm like, what was that whole day like? What was that whole experience like? Especially as NHL debuts. It's not just you, right? It's everybody who's been a part of it, like your mom, your dad, your whole family. It's all working towards this moment. So what was that like? Kind of taking that solo lap and everything with it.
Yeah, it's as you had said, there's so much that goes into it that you just feel really, really lucky and really just happy to be in the moment, honestly. It was something that there was so much work put in, both by myself and those around me, and a lot of sacrifices that it was a pretty special moment for all of us. And I think, that night, people has always asked me like if I got nervous or anything like that. And honestly, I always tell them like I was having so much fun that honestly, the nerves didn't even come. Like it was something that it was a blast, and it still is. Every day showing up the rink and seeing an NHL logo on your crest is pretty cool. And it's something that it helps put it in perspective that it is a lot of fun, and it's something that I think it helps takes any nerves away as well.
You rack up 2 points that night. Are you just like, this is easy? I don't know what the big deal is about this.
Yeah, it was. I know it was the first one. I passed to Mario and he had shot it, and I obviously knew right away. I was like, oh wow, like that's pretty cool. Like we scored, and I was like, oh, I got an assist. I'm like, that's awesome. That's the first point. And then the second one, I had no idea. I think I had changed actually once I passed it up. Actually, again, I think I passed it to Mario. Or no, I passed it to Oscar. I forget, but either way, I got off the ice and I was like, oh wow, another assist. And it was it was very much like this is quite the start. More importantly, I thought I played overall pretty well that game. So I definitely got some texts after that about the pace that I was on. But it was it was a pretty cool moment to add that on top to my first game.
You're like Erik Karlsson, eat your heart out. I mean, 100 points. So come on,
Yeah.
like I'm on pace for at this rate. I'm going to put up 160 points. So you come in at the end of the season when Erik Karlsson's kind of pushing that 100 towards that 100. How just kind of joining that where it's like Erik Karlsson is doing something we haven't seen in like 30 years, right? The last defenseman to score 100 points. What was that like?
It was so cool. We actually, so the first 5 games I was playing with Radim Šimek, and that was great. We were playing well, and then going into the final weekend or the final road trip, Vlasic had gotten hurt, and the coaches told me, like, "Hey, you're playing with Carl these 3 games." I was like, oh, okay. And I think he was at 98 points going into our game against Winnipeg, and he was someone that he honestly is pretty easy to play with, and it's which I think might be a surprise to some, but he's really smart, and he's very like efficient with what he does. So I thought we played pretty well to the couple of games we had played, and to see him hit 100 points and to have just the tiniest part in that story, being able to play that game with him is pretty cool, and something that I'll definitely remember forever, because I mean that guy's he's a Hall of Famer, and to say I got to play some games with him as a Steve partner is pretty cool.
That's one of those you tell the grandkids about. It's like, yeah, I got to play with him type of guys. All right, guys, before we finish up with Grand Admiral Thrun, we get to know him off the ice a little bit. Of course, ask about the Admiral Thrun nickname. Just need to take a quick break. If you are looking to find maybe that last minute little late gift for that friend who loves to go into concerts, theater, sporting events, Game Time has got you covered. They have killer last minute deals, all in prices, views of your seat, and the best price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. And if you're like me and you hate getting to a place and you're not knowing what your seat's going to look like, Game Time, again, you can see the view of your seat, right? You know exactly what your view is going to look like before you go there. The only thing worse than not knowing what your view is going to look like is going to check out and having a bunch of fees slammed on top. Game Time does not do that. They have all-in pricing, so when you go to checkout, you know exactly how much you're going to pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. After the season, you go and play in the World Championships with David Quinn on Team USA. You played for Team USA, quite a few times, but it's still special every time, right, to kind of represent your country.
Yeah, absolutely. That tournament was I knew during the college year that I was in the mix to get an opportunity to play for the team. And then when I was offered a spot, I took it immediately. And it was an unbelievable experience. I think, as you had mentioned, it's first and foremost, it's awesome to play for your country, especially on a world stage like that, where you go into Europe and you see sort of just how much national pride there is, both for the U.S. and for other countries, just how much it means to everyone. So it was an awesome experience, and as well, I think personally, it was great to be able to play another 10 games at a men's level, sort of have that to lead me into the summer. So it was something that it was a great opportunity, and it honestly was really fun too. We had a great group there. Obviously came up short of our goal, but overall it was a really enjoyable tournament.
Was it nice to kind of have like Quinn there, where you're kind of like getting a little extra credit, a little bit like extra, working on the system, working on the details, learning what he likes out of his defenseman?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. Obviously, it just builds a little bit more of an understanding of sort of the way that he likes his team to play. But at the end of the day, it's something that in a tournament like that, there's so many guys that him and the coaching staff are handling that it's something that you sort of show up to the rink every day, and you compete with everyone else and try to help the team win. So yeah, it was nice having some of the Sharks staff there. But it was like I said, there was a lot of guys on the team, so it wasn't like there was any special attention or anything going my way.
This season, you make the team out of camp, but then get sent down to the Barracuda after a couple games. What was kind of the message for you, like heading down?
Yeah, I think the message I got was just that the staff was really happy with my training camp, and sort of the preseason games and the practices that I put together, and that for me, there was a couple of things they wanted me to work on, and they felt that at the time the team was a little bit in flux. They felt that it was just the right timing for me to go down there, solidify some things I had to clean it up, and as well sort of just let the team, get their feet under themselves and gather some momentum, which makes total sense. I think it was at the end of the day, I think sometimes I forget myself that I still am a rookie, because I feel like I've played a bunch of games, but at the end of the day, I still am my first year and first couple months of pro hockey. So it was great, and I felt that I was able to really work on the things I need to work on with the Barracuda. So I found the time I spent there pretty effective.
All right, let's kind of switch gears to off the ice. So I don't know how much you're on the internet, but you've been given a fun nickname, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't know if you're a big Star Wars fan or not, or know the character Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thoughts on the nickname?
I've seen it a couple times. I'm not huge on internet, but some people have asked me about it and explained it to me. I like Star Wars, so I have no problem with it. I don't remember the character specifically, but I mean, I'm a fan of the series, so I have no issues with it. I like it.
Yeah, he's a bit of at least in the Disney canon, he's a bit of a newer character, but extremely smart guy. So, and with your Ivy League education, I think it goes hand in hand. Yes, the Sharks have also debuted the teal helmets with the rose sweaters. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. I saw a picture of us wearing the white helmets with the white jerseys the other day
Mhm.
when it just came across my phone, and I was like, oh, that's not right. Like that doesn't look good anymore. And the whites looked awesome, especially they're putting the white chin strap under the teal helmet. It looks really good. So shout out to the equipment staff for that one.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, I love the white sweaters. I have a white sweater.
Mhm.
I love the white sweaters, the teal helmets. I don't know, like it's just like, oh yeah, that looks great. Yeah, they did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Um, Going from wearing the full mask, like the full cage in college, to wearing the visor, is it like a breath of fresh air?
Yes and no. 'Cause you're right that it's easier to breathe. But at the same time, your first couple of practices, you feel like you're almost like naked out there because you'd be shocked like the amount of times you get nicked in the face with whether it be like someone's hands or a stick or like
Mhm.
you hit with a puck. And like I remember in my first game last year, actually, Phil Kessel like dumped a puck in and it got ramped up and literally hit me like square in the visor. And it was something that was like, I was like shell shocked. Like I literally could have just lost my entire front row of teeth. So thankfully I haven't had any major cuts or any damage to my teeth yet. But it's an adjustment. So we'll hopefully I stay safe out there.
I mean, you see Ferrara, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's yeah, it's that. Or I mean, you can ask Logan Couture about the horror stories of taking things to the face because I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures he's posted, but yeah, he's gone through some horror stories with the face stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, your game day prep. What are you, a superstitious guy, little stitious guy, or let it flow type of guy?
No, I'm gonna let it flow. I'm honestly, the seasons are so long that I find sticking too much to a routine can just become stressful and as well just become just a little, dreary over time. So I try to keep it fresh, on the day to day, whatever I need is usually what I take. There's obviously certain things I'll stick to just in terms of types of food I like to eat or trying to get a nap in, but
Mhm.
not very strict with my day to day. Just as I had said, it's something that there's a lot of variables and there's sometimes things you can't control. And to add any stress just because something's out of your routine, I don't think it's productive for me. So I try to just go day to day really.
Coffee. Are you a coffee guy before a game? Or are you
Uh,
no?
I am, yeah. I have an espresso machine in my apartment that I've been using this year. And it's been great. And I definitely before a game usually like to get a coffee in me.
Hot or cold, or you whatever? It just depends on the weather.
Again, depends on the day. Some days I'll go for a nice coffee. Some days I'll go for a hot one.
I am. It could be 110 out, and I'm drinking hot coffee. I don't know why. I cannot do the iced
Wow.
coffee.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know about that.
my wife is like it's 40 degrees out, and she wants iced coffee. But anyway, so and I have to ask: are you a monster who does not wear socks with their skates?
No, I wear socks. I don't think I think there's been one time I didn't because it was like during a summer state and I had
Mhm.
forgotten my gear and it was horrible. So I no, I can't do that. I've played with guys that do it and it's criminal to
Red
me.
flag,
Yeah.
absolute red flag. So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll get you out of here on this. So, when you're not training or on the ice or whatever, what's your favorite kind of off day activity to do?
I would say during the summer, I golf a lot. Definitely is usually how I'm spending my afternoon after a workout or a skate. In season now, trying to work around my cooking a little bit. So it's first time I've lived without a dining hall really. So it's first time I've had to spend a lot of time cooking for myself. So working on it, getting better. But if any any recommendations or any tips are always welcome. So I'm usually spending my afternoons, prepping dinner.
Capo Kakinen, big foodie. And
I know
William Eklund. William Eklund, secret. He's got a little bit of skill. He will with it in the kitchen, from what I've heard. So
yeah, I've
yes.
talked to Capo about it a little bit and asked him about some recipes. So he's helped me a little bit, but I'll have to ask Aki about that too.
All right. Henry, thank you so much for your time. Stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see you up with the Sharks for the rest of the season here.
Awesome. Thank you, JD. It's nice talking.
I appreciate it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Henry Thrun. A lot of meat on the bone there. I could have talked to him for another, 15, 20, 30 minutes. I had a bunch of questions I had to cut because we were just running out of time. So thank you to the Sharks for making this happen, getting him on the podcast here. Really great kid. Really excited to see, his career continue to grow and stuff. And like I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I think he has the makings of being just a really solid defenseman who's going to be in the NHL for a long time, just because I think his game it's really solid, and I think he's going to continue to kind of develop those habits and stuff. We've seen even this year, you kind of seen the growth little by little as he kind of gets more games in. So really like the direction Thrawn's going, and I think he's going to be a key part of the Sharks as they start to turn this thing around. So we'll be back tomorrow, probably going to do a kind of nice prospect check-in. We did one kind of about a month into the season. Gonna tomorrow look at where everybody is at. That we're starting to reach the halfway point. So we're going to kind of try to hit as many prospects as we can tomorrow. So make sure you guys are following along for that. You guys can follow the show wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.